Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. And also, the Pigs Playing Magic Kickstarter has launched, so make sure you check that out. The Kickstarter campaign is going to last for 30 days, and after that, the playmat will no longer be available for purchase. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. So, Wizards has said that 2020 is the year of Commander, and we've had some great reprints so far. However, there are still plenty of cards that have not been reprinted in what feels like forever that still need to be reprinted, and hopefully they're coming in Commander Legends. So, let's go over my picks for cards that absolutely need to be reprinted in Commander Legends. But before we get into reprints, the first thing I want to bring up is Arcane Cygnet. Don't worry, this is completely relevant, let me explain. So Arcane Cygnet first came out in last year's Brawl Precons. It's an artifact that costs 2 and it taps to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. So this is a mana rock that checks all the boxes. It ramps you on turn 2, gives you half as much as you put into it, and it perfectly fixes your mana. In other words, it's overpowered, and many players got upset that it's overpowered. Some consider it to be an auto-include like Sol Ring and that it has to go in every single deck now. Now I disagree with the concept of auto-includes, but that's a different subject. Regardless, Wizards chose to print this instead of reprinting other ramp cards that could have fit the same slot. And I can't prove this, and it's just my opinion, but they did that for one reason. Money. Wizards knew that Commander players would buy Brawl Precons because of this card. Even if that Commander player doesn't play Brawl, which most Commander players don't, they still might have interest in the product because of this card. Power creep in some ways seems like it's now a part of Wizards' design philosophy. Instead of reprinting a ramp card that can do the job well, they're going to reprint an overpowered card to sell product. Arcane Cygnet is simply one of the best mana rocks out there, and I hope this trend doesn't continue in Commander Legends. Instead of continuing to print overpowered ramp cards, just focus on reprinting the ones that work first. And with that said, let's jump into the reprints that we need in Commander Legends. As always, first up, there's Wayfarers Bobble. It's an artifact that costs 1, and you can pay 2 and tap and sacrifice it to search your library for a basic land and put into play tapped, then you shuffle your library. This is turn 2 land ramp for any deck. The Commander's Quarters has been around for just over 2 years now. And since the beginning of this channel, I've had this card in a ton of decks, and I've even had an episode entirely dedicated to just this card. In the first episode that Wayfarers Bobble appeared in, it was only 12 cents. Now its price is over $3. Since the start of this channel, Wayfarers Bobble has never been reprinted. It was printed in Commander 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2017. It got a dual deck reprint, as well as a Modern Masters 2015 reprint, and even an Anthology Volume 2 reprint. It was showing up consistently in Commander products at one point, but when its demand started to rise more and more, Wizards never reprinted it. This is a fantastic ramp card for a ton of decks that isn't overpowered, it's high in demand, so Wizards, reprint it. Next up though, this one should be pretty obvious, and that's the Signets. The Signets are each artifacts that cost 2, and by paying 1 into them and tapping them, they add their guild's colors. So they're a great mana ramp on turn 2 that also helps you fix your mana. They're some of the most popular cards in Commander, and for good reason, but they're not always reprinted in Commander sets. Now the Signets have had some reprints, but they've been haphazard. Some like Azorius Signet were reprinted in Commander 2020, and so its price dropped. But one like Dimir Signet wasn't, and its price continued to rise. I think that in pretty much every Commander set, every single one of the Signets should be reprinted. So I hope that in Commander Legends that's the case, and I hope that trend continues. Now another cycle of cards that I think should always be reprinted in Commander sets as well are the Talismans. The Talismans are each artifacts that cost 2, they tap for a color, so they tap for 1 of 2 colors, but they deal 1 damage to you. So again, mana ramp on 2 and potential mana fixing, but at a small cost. Regardless, the Talisman cycle is somewhat unique in that half of it came earlier and half came later. Talisman of Progress is one of the original Talismans, which came all the way back in Mirrodin. It has never been reprinted, and that's why it's a $10 card. 2 of the 5 old Talismans have been reprinted, but just in the Archenemy Nicol Bolas product. And the new Talismans came out last year in Modern Horizons, and their prices are rising. The most expensive of those being Talisman of Creativity, which is around $2. Regardless, the old ones definitely need a reprint, and I think the new ones do as well. But next up, let's move on to Felwar Stone, which is also known as slightly worse Arcane Signa, but sometimes it's better. It's an artifact that costs 2, and it taps to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. So it has the potential to give you all your colors, and even more. And again, ramping on turn 2 with the potential to fix your mana is fantastic. When this channel started, Felwar Stone's price was around $1. But today its price has jumped all the way up to $4 or $5. Again, much like Wayfarers Bobble, this card has not been reprinted in that entire time period. It also had somewhat consistent Commander reprintings in 2011, 2015, 16, 17, and Commander Anthology Volume 2. And then that reprinting stopped, and then things started happening where, instead of just getting this as a reprint, we get Arcane Cygnet. Even Fractured Power Stone, a card that I never imagined would become a non-budget card, is now a non-budget card. For Commander, it's simply an artifact that costs 2 and it taps for colorless. So it is efficient mana ramp on turn 2, but it doesn't help you fix your mana. This card has only been reprinted once in Planechase Anthology, which came out in 2016. Now that second part is tap, roll a planar die, activates ability only time you can cast a sorcery, so that's part of Planechase. But just because it has that part, doesn't mean the card can't work in Commander. And that doesn't mean that the card can't be reprinted either. This is a fantastic mana rock, especially for monocolored decks. But now let's move on to another cycle with some haphazard reprints with the Diamond Cycle. Each of these diamonds are artifacts that cost 2, come into play tapped and tap for 1 color. Now when I say haphazard reprints, I really mean haphazard. Moss Diamond hasn't been reprinted since Commander Anthology, but it's not expensive because it's in green. Whereas Fire Diamond wasn't reprinted in that anthology, but it was in the next one, and it's a card that's over $2. And Sky Diamond and Charcoal Diamond both weren't reprinted in either Commander anthology, so their last reprinting was Commander 2014. And then Marble Diamond was reprinted in whatever Divine versus Demonic is. Regardless, these are not overpowered ramp cards, but they are effective. Though they can come into play tapped, they do ramp you on turn 2 and have the potential to help you fix your mana. So I would love to see the entire cycle get reprinted in Commander Legends as well, and in some more products going forward. A somewhat similar card to these is Star Compass, which is an artifact that costs 2 and also comes into play tapped. It can tap to add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color that a basic land you control could produce. So depending on your land situation, this can really help you fix your mana. When this channel started, this card was around 40 cents, and now it's over $1.80. It's only been reprinted twice, and its last reprint was all the way back in 2017. Again, not overpowered, but efficient. Wizards, reprinted. Now the final mana rock I'm going to touch on quickly, and that's Worn Power Stone. Now the rest have been turn 2 ramp, but this is an extremely efficient turn 3 ramp spell. It's an artifact that costs 3 and enters the battlefield tapped, and it taps for colorless. It was a $1 card when this channel started, and its last reprint was in 2018, and now it's over $2, so yeah, reprint that one too, please. Outside of ramp though, let's talk about some lands I think definitely deserve a reprint, and that's the Panorama Cycle. The Panoramas are each lands that tap for a color, so you can pay 1 and tap and sacrifice them to get 1 of 3 basic lands. So they might not ramp you, but they're a fantastic way to help you fix your mana in a lot of decks. When talking about haphazard reprints, these definitely fit the bill. When this channel started, they were each around 20 cents, and ever since, their prices have jumped a ton. Each came out in Shards of Alara and saw a reprint in Commander 2013. Since then, no 2 have ever been reprinted in the same product. As for Panorama, it hasn't been reprinted at all, and 3 of the 4 remaining were only reprinted once. For players that couldn't pay up for expensive dual lands, these were a fantastic budget option. Most of them are no longer too budget friendly, so a reprint would be fantastic. And finally, the last 2 that I'll bring up are somewhat similar with Terminal Moraine and Warp Landscape. They each tap for a colorless, and you can pay 2 and tap and sacrifice them to get a basic into play, tap, then you shuffle your library. So again, lands that help you mana fix, but at a cost. Terminal Moraine has never been reprinted, and Warp Landscape has been reprinted once. Again, these were great budget options when they were cheap, and I'm hoping that they're reprinted so they can be again. Now, of course, there are a ton of other things that I would love to see reprinted in Commander Legends. But because I think that efficient mana ramp and mana fixing are so important in Commander, I think that these should be the focus first. So again, instead of giving us more new mana rocks like Arcane Cygnet that are overpowered, just reprint the ones that work. And of course, Wayfarers Bobble. Reprint Wayfarers Bobble. If Wayfarers Bobble is not in Commander Legends, I don't care what else is in it, it's a failure in my opinion. And with that, this show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on these potential reprints are. Are we going to see them in Commander Legends or not? So yeah, let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.